Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch Open. It is our grand final for Europe, and it's all kicking off right here in a moment. A best of 5 between the two Rs. It's going to be Rogue and Reunited who clash, two teams that in the first week actually fell foul to the CIS beasts. There were Anox who made it all the way to the grand final. They've already been waved goodbye to, and we'll be seeing Rogue and Reunited in full best of 5 clash in just a moment. Joining me is ZP and Durasar. They're going to be your casters for this one, but before I get to hear their delightful dulcet tones of their voice, I want to talk to you a little bit about the format and what on earth is going on here. I am your host, Alex Machine Richardson, and this is what you get to enjoy. People are unfamiliar with the format, and that's understandable. We are just into our second week of the qualifiers here, and it is open. The brackets are entirely open, and anybody can play. You and 5 friends, you can go ahead and get your mum, your aunt, your dog, your dad. Your dad? He's a combination of dad and something else. Either way, though, you can see that it does come down. It boils down to getting to those live finals at the ELEAGUE Arena. That's in Atlanta. A flight across the ocean. An opportunity to play your favorite game on the TV. That's how it all does go down, and now you can see the bracket of how we did get to this point. Misfits are the ones that already qualified. This was after the first week. The winner of the grand final secures a spot in the playoffs, and they can put their feet up for the following 3 weeks or so. Then you can see the points there. I mentioned Anox. They picked up 22 after going ahead and getting to the grand final, but falling a little short. Now we're into our second week, and this is where it does look. Rogue and Reunited. They've walked through so far. You can see the adversaries they overcame. Now they have a best of 5. The task is not going to be easy, and there's a kind of air of excitement, it seems, here on the desk for this matchup. It has been 2 names that have cropped up time and time again in European Overwatch. The scene is no doubt familiar with this 12-player stack. I have ZP, and I have myself a Durasar to go ahead and set the scene and explain it much better than I can. So first up, we'll start with you, ZP. You've been kind of working out this conundrum. You've been piecing together this puzzle. Why is it that this game just promised to be a really grand final?
So for Reunited, this is sort of a make-or-break game here. Reunited, for those who've been following the comp scene, they've sort of been the perpetual second-place team. They've always been one of the top teams in the game. They've always made for great grand finals, but they've had difficulty getting over the hump. Rogue recently, they've also had some degree of inconsistency, but they certainly came in very strong in the last match against Creation. So going forward here, it's interesting. There's multiple different avenues that this can go. If Rogue comes in and does a 3-0 on Reunited, I'm not going to be surprised. If it's very close and Reunited clutches out, I won't be surprised. I think there's a little more pressure, though, on Reunited, especially with their history of just struggling to get those final victories compared to Rogue, who has had many.
Give us a history lesson, John. What is it about Reunited that people are kind of suggesting they get close but not close enough?
I think Reunited are consistently strong as a team, but they haven't quite had, I would say, the galvanizing effect of going home with that trophy the same way that Rogue have. What Reunited have got going in their favor, and ZP, to your credit, we were talking about this before coming on air, is that it feels like today, from the way they've played, they've had a couple more play the game kind of moments where Valutaja has had his opportunities to shine maybe a little bit more than his opposite number on Rogue. But at the same time, Rogue have played as a team for a very long time. They've managed to go ahead and win. They've won offline as well, let's not forget. And you're right. Whether or not they're favorites or not, I'm sure actually there'll be plenty of people arguing for both sides. But you can argue that Rogue has less pressure.
Something that will tip the scales will be the map pool. Veto is done and dusted, and I can now summon the 5 maps, the battlegrounds, where these guys will do battle. A reminder, of course, that the losing team does get to choose what comes up next. This is not by no means the chronological order of this grand final, but we have ourselves a Hollywood and Ilios, Gibraltar, Dorado, and Route 66 is popping up for the first time. I believe this has been one of the least ventured maps, actually, we've had an opportunity to see, of course, alongside your Volskaya and your Hanamura. But have you seen a Route 66 this weekend? I don't think we have.
This weekend?
No.
Go, rack your brains.
I don't think so.
Maybe one yesterday, but I'm going to hold that as a maybe.
And chances, is it safe to assume that only pops up and slips through the veto process because of the best of 5?
Anytime you get to a best of 5 in Overwatch, you do get more of the off maps. You're much more likely to see a map like Ilios, which teams really have not cared for, though we've seen a lot in this last weekend,
it's crazy,
believe it or not. Route 66 comes in as well. And the interesting thing with Route 66 and Ilios, it's hard to say how much players actually dislike it because how the maps play, and more just those maps are still, in a sense, the new kids on the block. They came in later than the other maps, and teams get stuck in their ways. Route 66, I think, had a little bit of a bad reputation because teams didn't like playing against Double Winston way back in the day. But we haven't seen more of it as time goes on. overall, though, it's not the most popular of payload maps.
And just what you mentioned, Double Winston, just to run with that. Since we've moved into the one hero limit, has there been a very like a sudden shift, like just drop of the hat shift in maps that are favored, maps that are played more, and maps that are played less?
I think we haven't seen that big of a shift in all the rest, as much as you would think. Teams did keep their preferences. We saw lots of Hollywood in Kings Row back when you could stack as much as you want. We still see lots of Hollywood in Kings Row now that it's one hero limit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a specific example where a map really stopped getting played as much. Maybe Gibraltar stopped getting played as much, but even because Gibraltar used to stack soldiers and all the rest on it a little bit more often. But Gibraltar's always had a weird thing where some weeks is in vogue and some weeks it disappears forever.
Maybe Li Jiang and Tracers.
Yes.
That's like the most concrete example I can think of off the top of my head. But it's I think it's a kind of situation where with this map pool, it's particularly interesting because we have 4 payload maps and only 1 King of the Hill. Does that play into Reunited's hands at all, given how well we saw them execute payload maps in the recent past?
All right, well, taking a look here at the defense coming out here from the side of Rogue. Fairly standard right now for this meta. We're going to see Tavik on the Reaper, Reinforce on the defensive Reinhardt, AKM on what else but McCree, Nox on Lucio, Wynn's going to be on Winston, and Unco going to be the last piece here on the support in Zenyatta.
Reunited, a lot of expectation on their shoulders coming through now. We have Kib on Genji, Mort on Zenyatta, Valutaja will be playing Reaper this time around. Winghaven is going to be on Winston, Cruz on Lucio, and Unfixed on Zarya. A couple of kills very quickly. Tavik and Reinforce going down, but we are averaging that out with the tank going down from AKM. Now, can Reunited keep this push up? They're currently 5v3 on the first point, and I think ZP, you mentioned Hollywood, a little bit difficult to defend on that first point, and this is no exception.
Right, and what Rogue tried to do there to put that more in their favor is that there is sort of this idea going around that if you can be the first to engage on defense for into the enemy team, you can sort of get victory there on point A. Unfortunately for Rogue there, they just weren't able to do that effectively. Reunited immediately punished them. Valtaja just got way more done on McCree than AKM did, so it's a very quick first cap here for Reunited. And now the one upside for Rogue is that they are able to get positioning on the top, but right now they're being really aggro, perhaps too much so. They need to back out in a hurry. They did get a pick on the Winghaven, but now they just need to take their wins back out. If they go too deep, they will get punished.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They're trying to look for the 1 or 2 pickoffs that buys them an extra 30 seconds. Maybe Reunited will be forced to re-engage a little bit later on. But like you said, ZP, if they go a little bit too far into it, you have to be very careful because 2 picks all of a sudden and then Reunited swarm in, and if they take the rooftop, it's going to be really difficult.
All right, so we take a look at defense on the ground floor. Here comes a Deadeye from AKM, looking for those skulls. Does fire off, does a lot of damage to Reinhardt's shield. Not much else to start things off. Winghaven, though, does take out Reinforce, so it's a 65 in favor of the side of Reunite right now. Here comes Dragon Blade from Tavik right now, looking to slice and dice his offense away. 2 kills to the advantage of Rogue.
Very, very good response. Immediately seeing the sword and going, right, we're just going to calmly pop Transcendence here. And dear, oh dear, that is absolutely to the face. Valutaja will not get the Deadeye off. And Reunited now playing 1 DPS character down. AKM, to be fair, is also gone on the other side and wins in the meantime, getting another kill.
Yep, Rogue able to stabilize this a bit. Tavik, no fear, just dancing in the backline. Not a great answer for that right now from the side of Reunited. Now, let's talk about coming attractions coming up here. Reinforce does have Earthshatter already. Kib does have Dragon Blade. So we'll see how this works out. Rogue, of course, one good Earthshatter could end it. For Reunited, Kib has oftentimes been hit or miss with ults. Been more hit as of late, but did have a history of inconsistency. But here we go. Earthshatter comes down from Reinforce, knocks down 3, moves in. A quick and decisive fight there from Rogue.
Very nice from Reinforce, rotating so that he could actually pin Reinhardt against the wall as well. Really well executed and spotting that opportunity. And Tavik now still owning the rooftop, just making sure Reunited don't make a play there. What do you think about this EP that Reunited at the moment are finding Rogue actually holding the bottom rather than stacking the heroes on the roofs here?
It's a little bit unconventional. Usually teams do like holding the rooftop, but right now both teams are just fighting on the ground. You don't see it all that often with Rogue. They're just confident enough that they don't need the high ground advantage to actually take these fights. Ult-wise, they do have Dragon Blade up for Tavik. That could be devastating. Cruz takes out Winslow, but here comes Tavik over the top, takes out Voltage immediately. And usually for Reunited, when Volataja goes down, the rest of them will go down in turn. He is so important to their offense.
He absolutely is. I mean, he's the initiator with Deadeye. He also needs to come in and get those couple of clutch kills as well. We've seen so many of great plays coming out from him this time around. But when he respawns, he will have the ultimate available. Mort is ready. Winghaven is ready. If they can actually get an in-your-face engagement with Rogue, they'll be able to pop the Earth Shatter. They've got Transcendence if anything goes wrong, and Volataja is a great initiator. He's using that now. Here we go. Reunited moving in. They need to make this one count, otherwise there's going to be a big ult advantage in favor of Rogue.
Well, Tavik right now was going to Volataja, did draw his attention, drug for too long though, did die to the Deadeye. 5v5 right now, both teams finding out. We do have Winston. Wynn's going the back, pops a Primal Rage, creating space here for the defense, and here they come. They're swarming right in. Volataja goes down right away. And it started out a little bit rough, but wins as Winston picks up the double kill. So good play coming out from Aaron's favorite scientist. Wins, in fact, makes it a triple kill in the end. So it's not always the DPS heroes that have to be the heroes here. Tavik might have died early. Win says, no problem, I got you, fam.
And Kib actually spent a long time there on very low health. Well, he's actually dead right now. But you don't really want to pop a Dragon Blade when you're on 50 health. You just get picked off so easily when you move in. So he was there looking for the health pack. He found it, but he's now not going to be a part of the start of this fight.
Right. The only person who will pop a Dragon Blade 50 HP and still go into Shadowburn. Shadowburn has no fear in him whatsoever. Doesn't even care what his health is. But next fight should be underway here in a moment. And Rogue, bit of an ult advantage yet. Reunited does have ults of their own, so should be getting fireworks in this next fight. But Reunited's been stymied right now by Rogue. And just on the stakes here, they only have about 2 big fights left. But here comes the Earth Shadow for Reinforce. Knocks down 3. Here comes Rogue feasting off of that opportunity for Reinforce. And just like that, the fight is already over.
Buying the time there. Can we just call out that flashbang from AKM as soon as he spotted everyone was in one place, giving Reinhardt enough time to just guarantee the Earth Shadow was going to be beautiful. That was an excellent passage of play coming out there from Rogue.
That was one of the original reasons we saw McCree get played a lot way back in his original state before the string of nerfs and buffs where you just throw the flashbang up and create opportunities. But here we go. Tavik comes into the backline, does a Dragon Blade at the ready, will force out the Transcendence, and Orte Du is under pressure. Transcendence will be keeping Rion up, but it's about to end. Here comes Tavik now, Dragon Blade at the ready. The Transcendence is over. Volataja gets killed by the deflection. Tavik in the backline on a double kill, looking for more, not yet sated. But while this is going on, Kib is doing Genji work as well. Reunited, able to weather the storm, and as much as Tavik did, Kib did just as much on the other side.
That was actually incredible because the setup work there from Kib, from Tavik rather, was actually really good. Patiently waiting out the Transcendence, biding his time, looking for the opportunity, eyeing up Volataja and spotting where he's looking, and then popping it. Really, really calm, collected play. We have another engagement now. They're unfixed, going Primal Rage. We have got Lucio ulting on the side of Reunited, trying to keep everyone alive throughout the course of this engagement. And now everyone's backing up behind there. Reinhardt, Volataja getting a pick up on Tavik. That is big. Earth Shatter coming out now. Are we going to get more kills? We are not managing to whiff the charge, but still getting a kill off on AK. Oh my god, this is a complete team wipe.
Reunited finally able to do what they needed to do there. Kib got good kills in the backline. Winghaven had the excellent Earth Shatter to finish things off. And barring a miracle here from Rogue, they should be able to get this next point. If Rogue rushes in, it's very risky. It's not the greatest engagement point. And they're going to get right here. Oh no, the contest comes in. But it's too late. They got the point. The gates are going to open. And now for Rogue, they just need to back up and not potentially squander a new team fight that could be coming up.
Man, that could have been so much faster as well if Winghaven managed to pin someone with that late charge. But Rogue coming out not quite able to do that. They didn't trickle as much as I thought they would, to be fair. They managed to get 3 people out more or less at the same time. But Volataja is going to knock the last 2 people out of the park. Is there anything this guy cannot do as we move on to the last point here in Hollywood?
Volataja is in a class of people that have played McCree probably longer than anything else. You have to think Volataja and R tier in the same breath. Reunited moving forward, they don't have a huge ult advantage. This is going to be even-ish with a slight edge to Rogue. Tavik, of course, has Dragon Blade at the race. Soundbarrier comes up for Reunited, though, and that's one thing they can hang their hat on. They're moving in. Unfixed takes out AKM early on, so 65 for Reunited. This fight is going very well for them thus far. They did have to blow the Transcendence. Kib takes out Tavik. It's not decisive for them yet here, and Rogue is starting to fight it back. Reinforced with the charge on Volataja, and wins will get the cleanup towards the very end, so a little bit dicey, but Rogue will hold on here, and for Reunited, they're going to be running in on their last push.
You can kind of see the idea there from Reunited. Kib and Mort using their ultimates there to start things off. Valutage and Winghaven holding back. They're going, we need to stagger our ultimates and try to get them to trickle in. That would have been great, but they still had to win the initial fight, right? And it didn't quite go in their favor, but now we have round 2 and a chance to finish the map off right here, right now.
Well, Winghaven does open up the Earthshatter, does take out Unco, will pay for it right away. Reinforce coming in with the cleanup Earthshatter of his own. 3 kills here for Rogue. If they win this fight, it's going to be very hard for Reunited to actually bring this back. They're simply running out of time. AKM gets a cleanup on the crews in the backline. And for Reunited, this isn't really a full push, but this is where they're just going to have to run onto the point and keep it going anyways. 30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, they have to keep the sustain going right now. There is no other choice. Everyone huddling behind Winghaven. It's do or die for them, now or never. Winston, though, has other ideas. We have wins coming in for the defending team. And let's see. Oh, my God. Mid-air, unfortunately, and Reinforce says absolutely no to Deadeye. This is looking dangerous for Reunited.
Kib right now going to the backline. Dragonblade at the ready, trying to keep things alive, but it's not going to happen. AKM snipes him out. Tavik in the backline takes out 2 more. The time is expiring, and for Rogue, that is a hold before last, which means that they don't have to worry about time in our second round here. All they have to do is simply push the cart a little bit further, and they'll be taking map 1 in this best of 5 away from Reunited.
And like you said, ZP, Reunited maybe just a little bit more pressure on their shoulders at the moment. They came off, they recently had a 3-0 victory over Misfits, who have already qualified for the playoffs here. But right now, it does look a little bit like nerves, doesn't it?
I'm not sure if it's nerves or just Reunited at this point, because Reunited, for those who have followed them, they've had high highs and low lows, and they seemingly do come up short in the finals of a tournament. They always give teams a good fight, but they have had trouble in the situation in the past. But take a look here at the Reunited defense as it comes out to see if there's any surprises. It will be Winghaven here on the Reinhardt, Volataja on the Reaper, Cruz on Lucio, Morte on the Zenyatta, and Kib coming out on the Roadhog. So we will be getting the Australian duo here of Junkrat and Roadhog. And Roadhog is interesting because I still feel like he's a little underplayed right now in this meta. People are very scared of Zenyatta, but a well-played Roadhog can absolutely wreak havoc on both offense and defense.
What do you think about having this Roadhog here in place of McCree? Because if anyone's looking at a hero that's absent from this lineup right now, who's really good in the current meta, you're going to be looking at the Reunited roster and going, guys, have we got a McCree here anywhere? Are we safe because Valutaja is on Reaper here?
I think a part of it is that back when McCree initially got nerfed, you saw a lot of people swapping Roadhog for McCree. So you can interchange them. You're giving up some of your longer range poke for more close range dominance and just the threat of hooks, which will keep people back. So I think more than anything else, it might be a mechanism to try and control Tavik a little bit more in the back line. Okay. We'll have to see. Gates are opening, though, in 3 seconds.
Exactly right. Rogue are moving on out. Reinforce will be on Winston, Nox on Lucio, and Wins is playing Zarya this time around. Tavik will be on Genji, which is excellent. AKM on Reaper, and Unco once again on Zenyatta. They have 54.84 meters to go. Remember, they do not have to complete the map. Rogue here are just looking to push the payload further than Reunited did, and that would give them the victory on Hollywood. But first, we have point number 1.
AKM starting off with the bang, does take out Cruz immediately. Reinforce on the unfix. This could not start any worse for Reunited. They're already down 3 people. Morte takes out Tavik with the kick to the face, but you look at the overall trend of this fight. Rogue is swarming right in. They get right into the cafe. They take out Volataja, and again, this sort of continues a trend of point A Hollywood defenses being very rough, but it's a good omen for Rogue because, again, remember, they don't have to push all the way to the end. They just have to push it a little bit further than Reunited did.
And note, Tavik is actually holding back here. He's not actually rushing ahead, miles and miles onto the second point to try and look for opportunities on the rooftops. We're keeping the team together, being nice, calm, and collected. And let's see what the game plan is.
Well, point number 2, there is a switch up for Reunited. They do not want to stay on everyone's favorite hog for the next stage, Kib, instead moving back to Genji, where did have a decent Genji game in the last game.
Hooks up onto the rooftop are just so much fun to watch. That's it.
They are. Well, Hooks pulling people up or pulling people down. Verticality is key. Yeah. But here we go. Reunited is going to be jumping off the rooftop. They feel they have the edge here. They do have the edge. Both AKM and Nox go down immediately. Kib still comfortably on the point, looking for wins. Wins right now, just trying to stay charged up. But Tavik, being the hero, takes out 2 before falling. Reinforce still in this. Rogue, despite a rough start here, losing 2. They're fighting this back in what was a 4v6.
Oh, wow.
It's very close between the two. Kib and Morte trying to hold on here. Still have a Winston here on top.
Yeah, Kib at the moment, he's really trying to carry this team fight. He doesn't want to let it go, and he has got the verticality. He can wait and pick and choose his engagements, but ultimately he needs the rest of his team to come back. He's bought that time. The payload won't have moved as far as a result, and Kib is doing everything in his power here to stop Rogue from getting to that point they need to get to.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that is that Rogue did get a lot of payload push during that, even though it wasn't fully decisive in their favor. They did keep a focus on that. But here they go once again, reinforcing the way. Here comes Kib, defensive Dragon Blade moving in, slices down 2 already. The defense coming in strong. Kib looking for that all-important 3rd kill. Tavik running for his life. Will the final slash come in? No, he puts the Dragon Blade away, but he's going to swift strike into Tavik anyways, completing the triple kill. Good show by Kib.
Very, very patient as well, seeing Tavik running away and going, you know what? If you do nothing else, I'm going to be able to take you out with my dash. So we've got... I mean, we don't have to worry too much about doing this quickly. Rogue just need to get to that point. So what's their mindset right now? At what point do we start getting a little bit concerned for Rogue, or are Reunited just doing a very, very solid job?
Rogue has been getting decent push and all this. I don't think Rogue is particularly stressed. Here we go, though. Soundbearer on the way. Tavik moving into the back line, applying pressure to this top bridge. Will take out Voltage with the aid of Reinforce. 65 in favor of the side of Rogue right now. Reinforce just going deep on that Winston. Will take out another, and Tavik applying the pressure. Kib at 100 HP, not a whole lot to do here. All his friends are dying. He moves right in, takes his Zen Orb to the face, and Rogue now, they're in a great position. And you look at their ults, they really only had to use Soundbearer and Transcendence there. They have everything else up for the next fight, Joro.
Yeah, that's very true, and that's actually the part of the fight that I'm worried about the most right now. Reunited have a Transcendence, and I guess if you pop the Transcendence much later than your opponents, it's possible for things to happen, but right now there are loads of individual skirmishes. Unfixed going really, really deep, but unfortunately not getting much purchase from it, and Tavik is trying to make a little bit of Rogue Carpaccio here, but he immediately gets shut down by the Earth Shatter. This is not looking particularly good for Rogue. We need to be a little careful with how that engaged. Reunited, pardon me. Nox going down, but 3 down now for Reunited.
Everything going well for Rogue there. The kill feed filling up with blue. And now this is the trouble for Reunited. You look at the stage that is being set. 5 minutes remaining right now for holding on Last in Hollywood. Oftentimes that is mission impossible, but that is the mission Reunited must take on nonetheless if they do not want to end up down a map. But here we go. They're going to be rolling in. If they lose this fight, Joro, that's it. Everything on the line here in this fight. Unfixed leading the way on Winston, goes to the back line. AKM, though, immediately punishes Voltage with the Death Blossom in the back. 2 kills here for Rogue. They're getting everything they need. If they get this Lucio kill, that might be it. Kib with the Dragon Blade, trying to be the savior, has a double kill. Will he do it? He is getting a Zarya beam right in his face. He is still alive. He gets a triple kill, and Kib keeping Reunited alive right now in what was a very grim situation indeed. He finally goes down. They are not out of the woods yet, but Reunited does have a good chance of reinforcing on the point.
And it's such a tough situation to be in as well. No more tank, no more DPS in terms of Valutaja. You can't keep holding those clutch positions forever and a day, and Tavik coming out with the double kill. The payload is moving, it's going to hit the point, and Rogue will get the first map victory here over Reunited.
And Tavik at the very end, if there's ever a moment of anything you can do, I can do better. Tavik coming in with some Genji Razzle Dazzle of his own.
I'm going to have that song stuck in my head now.
I'm so sorry. But we do see a play of the game here coming out from Reinforced. And unfortunately for Kib, even though we did do a lot of work towards the end, just so much had been done that it was rough. You see the power here of a well-placed Earth Shatter and Reinforced, even going for the spray and crouching at the end. So good stuff coming out from Rogue. And I gotta say, John, going into this is not a huge surprise to me because I've seen enough of Reunited over time that I always like rooting for them in the finals of tournaments because they haven't done it. But seeing them drop the first map right now, it just feels like more Reunited. With just going along with their history. It's just,
yeah.
I get disappointed in the finals. I wish they would come out a little bit stronger.
And you know what? The fairy tale is alive. Reunited might well dig deep and say, ZP, you're right. We haven't done that well in finals of tournaments before. This is the part where the fairy tale begins. We're able to really summon those clutch performances. Based off history, it doesn't happen very often, but we'd like to see them start doing it now.
Right, and just to sort of add on to that last point, of course, digging up a little bit old wounds here, but back when Too Easy was on Reunited, I just remember one of the times where Reunited won, and Too Easy just tweeted saying, "Oh my God, we actually did it. We won a final." So those feelings run deep in Reunited. All of them know that's where they're at, and they are a very capable team. They've put on good matches. They've beaten Rogue in the past. They've beaten all the top teams in Union in the past. The question is one of consistency, and if they can bring it back here in this best of 5.
And speaking of consistency, Rogue as well have, in the past, maybe struggled a little bit with some consistency issues. But that said, they've managed to overcome them often enough to win tournaments. And today, they're on a little bit of a tear. They got their revenge against Anox, as we know, and at the moment, they're looking very, very strong indeed. The question then becomes whether or not Reunited can turn this around. And like you say, it's looking a little bit difficult at the moment.
Yeah, for Reunited, I mean, they certainly have the tools in a meta where McCree is a little bit more prominent. They have one of the best McCree players in the game in Volataja. Kib has certainly shown us areas of brilliance, and Winghaven is a very well-regarded tank in the community where it started out with him where he didn't quite have it all set, but he quickly evolved into one of the better Reinhardts in the game where he's just consistently solid. So Reunited does have a lot to hold back on here. They do have maps that they're good at. We'll see if the future maps coming in favor them a little bit more. But for Reunited, it's sort of a tale of, will this be the time that they get over the hump once more and win this final?
Oh, well, we'll have to wait and see, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be going to a short break, and when we come back, map number 2 of the grand final between Reunited and Rogue. Don't go anywhere.